Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Barakaha Kudash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and in this video, I'm going to start it off in Proverbs chapter 12, verse 10. The righteous man regardeth the life of his beast, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. And the wicked, according to the scriptures, are you so-called white people who are the biblical Edomites, the border of wickedness in Malachi chapter 1, verse 4, and the wicked whom the earth has been given into the hands of in Job chapter 9, verse 24. And in this video, I'm going to go into a few articles showing the tender mercies of the wicked being cruel towards the life of these beasts out here. And these articles will be dealing with Dr. Anton Faust, as we'll call him, because some information has just been released showing that he paid for experiments on puppies and monkeys, and as we'll get into later, even worse experiments on things out here. And this is just another example of why you Edomites need to be taken out of power, because ever since you came into this little season of your rulership again with the Renaissance, you've turned this planet into a trash can, as it says in Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And the people are definitely mourning out here from your rulership. You spray chemtrails into the sky, you pour pollution into the oceans, which kills off marine life and causes some marine life to beach themselves on these shores to get away from it. You give people GMO foods, which gives them cancer. You push this cell and Wi-Fi radiation, which further gives people cancer. You push out these destructive ideologies like feminism, the alphabet agenda beginning with LG, capitalism, communism, socialism, plantation Christianity, the list goes on and on. You destroy and degrade the relationships between men and women. You destroy the family structure. And again, as we'll see in that article, you do horrific and barbaric and cruel experiments on animals and even people as well, children at that. So when you Edomites are finally taken out of power, nobody's going to mourn for your downfall. They're actually going to rejoice because the righteous will be in authority. The righteous being the children of Israel, who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the very same people who you show to be the lowest of the low in the society, these niggers, spics, and tontos. And the people are going to rejoice because we're going to follow this planet after the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, which is the only right way to live. This planet under our rulership is going to go back to being like the Garden of Eden. But if you can believe it, even better this time. But now let's get into this article showing the tender mercies of the wicked. And my first article's on endoftheamericandream.com titled, Unspeakable Crimes Are Being Committed in America's Laboratories. So what will we do now? Not a goddamn thing. This wickedness will continue until you Edomites are taken out of power. The scandals that have been revealed this week should be shaking America to the core. As I detailed yesterday, Dr. Anton Faust and his minions approved and funded experiments that involved drugging beagle puppies and locking their heads in mesh cages filled with hungry sandflies so that insects could eat them alive. In another case, 44 beagle puppies had their vocal cords slashed so that they wouldn't bark while Fauci's scientists experimented on them. As a result of these absolutely shocking revelations, the hashtag #ArrestFaust was trending on Twitter on Sunday. And what reason would anybody have to do these barbaric experiments on animals? No reason. You Edomites are just wicked. And though you'll say, oh, these experiments are for science and to help the medical field, all that stuff's bullshit anyway. There's natural remedies to deal with any health effects out here. But you Edomites like to cover that under your sorcery and witchcraft and lies. Best believe none of this is going to happen in the kingdom of heaven. As it says back in Proverbs chapter 12, verse 10, a righteous man, an Israelite man, regardeth the life of his beast. We're going to have all these animals in their right proper functions in the kingdom, doing what they need to do, and we're not going to be doing barbarous, cruel, torturous experiments on them. The phrase, arrest Faust, was trending on Twitter Sunday afternoon in response to multiple controversies surrounding Dr. Anton Faust. Twitter users posted the hashtag calling out Faust, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, over reports that hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars were used to subject dogs to cruel testing before ultimately killing them. But will Faust be arrested? Don't hold your breath. Exactly. As long as the wicked, these Edomites are in rulership, hey, they're going to get off scot-free. We now know that Faust has been approving and funding experiments that involve the torture of innocent puppies for decades. If our nation denounces this great evil and holds those responsible accountable for their actions, that would indicate that there is still good in our society. There is never good in this society of the United States of America, which is biblically known as Babylon the Great. This is the most wicked kingdom to ever grace the face of the earth. Just look at the state of the world, with the United States of America being the top kingdom out here right now. And hey, you European Edomite countries aren't any better. Neither are you Russians or anywhere else you Edomites dwell. This planet will be at peace when you all fall and go into slavery in the kingdom of heaven under the children of Israel. But if nothing happens and Faust and his minions are allowed to continue their torture of animals, that will put us right up there with the most wicked regimes in history. We have also just learned that the NIH has been spending millions of dollars to fund extremely cruel experiments on monkeys at Emory University's Yerkes National Primates Research Center. What is being done to these monkeys is beyond sickening. Here's a clip. The tender mercies of the wicked, the tender mercies of you Edomites. What reason would you have to do this to animals? A righteous man regardeth the life of his beast. Again, none of these barbaric actions will be taking place in the kingdom of heaven. According to White Coat Waste, more than $16 million has been spent so far on experiments that involve the following forms of torture: locking monkeys alone in tiny cages, drilling holes into monkeys' skulls, screwing in head restraining devices, implanting electrodes in the monkeys' brains, injecting toxins that destroy monkeys' brains and cause them to lose control of their limbs, mouths, and other body parts. Now that this has been revealed, why aren't the feds immediately moving in to arrest the sickos that are doing this torture? Because the feds don't give a shit either. All these people in the higher ups of power are in cahoots, dishing out wickedness. Apparently, this sort of thing has been going on for years at this particular facility, and up to this point, more than 4,000 primates have been subjects of various experiments, in quotes, the tender mercies of the wicked. Altogether, Yerkes NPRC imprisons over 4,000 primates of different species for use in needless experiments opposed by most Americans. Experts agree that primate experiments are incredibly wasteful, and even NIH Director Francis Collins recently highlighted the ineffectiveness of animal testing. How far gone do you have to be to think that torturing monkeys like this is okay? And you just have to be the wicked that are estranged from the womb, that have come out of the womb being crooked and evil and deceitful and cruel. In a truly just society, anyone involved in such monstrous activity would be put in prison. Sadly, it is being reported that large numbers of monkeys are being subjected to other forms of torture at many other facilities all around the nation, turning monkeys into binge drinkers, alcoholics, at Oregon, NPRC, surgically inducing heart attacks in monkeys, Washington, NPRC, exposing monkeys to biological weapons, Tulane, NPRC, intentionally threatening monkeys to cause fear and anxiety, California, NPRC, psychologically tormenting baboons, Southwest, NPRC, drilling into monkeys' skulls and injecting them with ADHD drug Ritalin, Wisconsin, NPRC. And thanks to the NIH, your tax dollars are paying for all this. But are the big corporate news networks going to make a big deal out of all this? Of course not, because they actually support the torture. And as most Americans are not going to stand up against this either, and that is because the moral foundation of our society is almost entirely gone at this point. Let me give you another example. According to documents obtained by Judicial Watch, the NIH has been spending lots of money to buy organs from aborted human fetuses. Chopping up aborted human beings for their organs and tissue is a moral and legal outrage, said Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton. This issue should be front and center in any debate about America's barbaric abortion industry. In February 2020, Judicial Watch first uncovered through this lawsuit hundreds of pages of records from the National Institute of Health, showing that the agency paid thousands of dollars to a California-based firm to purchase organs from aborted human fetuses to create humanized mice for HIV research. In May 2021, this lawsuit uncovered FDA records showing the agency spent tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars to buy human fetal tissue from ABR. The tissue was used in creating humanized mice to test biological drug products. The records indicated the FDA wanted tissue purchases fresh, shipped on wet ice. Madness. We are literally carving up aborted babies and using their organs in some of the sickest scientific experiments imaginable. But only a small percentage of the U.S. population actually cares that this is going on. Needless to say that we were never going to stop with just torturing animals. Today, all of us are the experiment, and our evil scientists are committing crimes against humanity of the highest level all over the globe. And even though this is happening right in front of our eyes, most people still refuse to wake up. Now that so much has been revealed, there are no more excuses. Either we clean up our act, which is not going to happen, or we deserve to be treated as one of the wickedest nations in the history of humanity. Of course, we aren't going to clean up our act, are we? Behind closed doors, Faust and his minions are going to continue to kill, torture, and carve up the innocent, and Faust will continue to be praised as America's doctor, and they will continue to make more documentaries praising him. I have said this before, and I will say it again. A great day of reckoning for our nation is fast approaching, which you can clearly see. You've got the supply chain disruption, which is going to lead to famines. You've got fuel shortages coming, hyperinflation, people losing their jobs, even more draconian mandates, you name it. And we deserve every ounce of pain that is coming our way. And you Babylonians, you Americans out here deserve every bit of judgment that Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is going to bring to this country. You people are wicked and turn a blind eye to all the horrors that are going on in this society. Hey, and you 2/3 of the nation of Israel aren't excluded from that. And you still follow after these Edomites thinking they're going to be your salvation. which actually they're going to lead you to your destruction. And with all these different calamities that are going to hit the United States of America during Jacob's trouble, any of you Babylonians that survived the famines, the pestilences, the race wars, civil wars, a state of martial law, will ultimately be wiped off the face of the earth by one of the 200 million nuclear missiles that's going to hit this place and turn it into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards, and good riddance. Let's say with my first article. Now I'm going to go to my second article on the gatewaypundit.com, because if you thought experimenting on puppy beagles and monkeys was bad, just wait. There's more examples of the tender mercies of the wicked. It wasn't just beagles and monkeys. Faust's NIH also funded medical experiments on AIDS orphans in New York City. In August, Gateway Pundit contributor Cassandra Fairbanks broke the story on Dr. Faust's use of taxpayer money to torture beagles in barbaric animal testing. Dr. Faust funded a study in Tunisia where beagle dogs were eaten alive by parasite-infected flies. Dr. Faust also spent over $16 million in taxpayer funds on disturbing toxic brain injection experiments on monkeys in 2018. And Dr. Faust was more recently caught funding gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China, laboratory blamed for the production and leak of the Krispy Kreme number after 18. Fauci lied about his funding of the lab under oath numerous times. Hey, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go forth speaking lies as soon as they be born. What do we have here? A so-called Negro or a Judite child. Now this, Dr. Faust's NIH was also caught funding experiments on AIDS orphans at a New York City hospital in 2004. Best believe the majority of those orphans tested on were Israelite children, as we see with this Judite child right here. Another example why the United States of America is going to be completely obliterated from the face of the earth. You Edomites in this country have afflicted the apple of the Most High's eye, the children of Israel, again the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And best believe you're going to pay double for all the crimes you committed on this side on the children of Israel in the kingdom of heaven when we have you under our feet as our slaves. The Fauci NIH approved experiments on hundreds of New York City orphans. Government agencies and pharmaceutical companies used the orphans in deadly AIDS drug trials. In 2005, the city of New York hired the Vera Institute to form a final report on the drug trials. Vera was given no access to medical records for any of the children used in trials. Their report was published in 2008. The report that 25 children died during the drug studies. That an additional 55 children died following the studies in foster care, and according to Tim Ross, director of the Child Welfare Program at Vera, as of 2009, 29% of the remaining 417 children who were used in drug studies had died, out of a total 532 children that are admitted to have been used. The Wikipedia writers cover up all details, as is expected. No payment or compensation has been paid to any of the children used in the trials or to their families. A hospital nurse later spoke out to reporters about the testing. She reported that children would immediately get sick, break out, or throw up during the testing. They were orphans at the Incarnation Children's Center in New York City. Another Israelite child. The ICC investigation website offers several documents and interviews with children and child care workers at the hospital who participated in the research. That's it with this article. But as you can clearly see, again in Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked, the Edomites beareth rule, the people mourn. From animals getting experimented on to orphans getting experimented on, to these people around the planet getting afflicted by you Edomites' rulership, the people are definitely mourning. So, when you're finally taken out of power and the righteous are in authority, the people will rejoice because they're going to see what a righteous rulership looks like and how the earth is meant to be governed under the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Now I'm going to close it out in Isaiah chapter 14, verses 5 to 7. Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked, the border of wickedness in Malachi chapter 1, verse 4. Whereas Edom, you so-called white people, saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the Edomites, the border of wickedness, which means wherever you set up your border, wickedness follows. And since your blessing was the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven, to be in control of this planet for a little season, beginning with the Renaissance, wickedness has engulfed this world, and wickedness has caused these people to mourn from your unrighteous, cruel, and barbaric decrees, and the people against whom Yahweh hath indignation forever. Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepters of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger. Doing AIDS experiments on orphans, dropping atomic bombs on people, going into different countries and overthrowing their sovereign leaders to set up puppets so they can abuse that country's people and take their resources, spraying chemtrails into the sky, pouring pollution into the ocean, giving people GMO foods, cell phone and Wi-Fi radiation, destructive ideologies like feminism, the alphabet agenda beginning with LG, communism, capitalism, socialism, the list goes on, is persecuted and none hindereth. You Edomites being taken out of power and going into slavery. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing, because in the kingdom of heaven, the righteous will be in authority, ruling this planet under the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. So there will be clean air, clean water, clean food. Animals will no longer be experimented on in barbaric, torturous tests. Children will no longer be experimented on. There's going to be no more war on the planet. The family structure will be back in order with the man at the head and the women and the children in subjection. The list goes on. So it'll be a beautiful day when you Edomites are finally taken out of power and are under the feet of the righteous in the kingdom of heaven. And the cherry on top is after that first 1,000 years of the kingdom of heaven. These other heathen nations will be allowed to go back to their lands, though they'll still be under our subjection and the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. But as for you Edomites, after that first 1,000 years, as it says in the book of Obadiah, every single Edomite man, woman, and child will be gathered up and permanently culled from this planet with fire, and good riddance. It'll be a nightmare that humanity will have finally woken up from. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim were edified. Just keep strong and keep pushing this word. We're almost out of this final wicked captivities of the wicked, the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.